Working in the disability sector and having an impairment is actually really good because you get to focus on a lot of issues that affect you personally. One of the things we've been working on recently at CCS Disability Action is increasing the fines for mobility parking abusers.
Auckland University have assisted Amy with access issues wherever possible. The support services put in place are helping Amy to complete her psychology and history degree.
They've got a brilliant disability centre and a team of disability advocates. Just go to the disability centre, go and see them and say, I don't think I can do this, but I really want to, and they will bend over backwards for you. In my classes, I was just another student. I was annoying overachieving student who asked like a million questions, but I wasn't the disabled student or anything. People eventually stopped looking when I banged into walls because that was just how I got there.
For me, I mean, access is really important because it basically it decides whether I'm disabled or not.
Sometimes when a building isn't fully accessible but the people's attitudes are really good and really helpful, that can overcome the actual environment. The great thing about equipment nowadays, it does enable you to be a lot more independent, and my new wheelchair is an example of that. I can stand up and do different things that I couldn't do before. And small things like being able to have a conversation with somebody at eye contact level. Quite a different take on the world actually. I was quite surprised when the first time I stood up, I was like, I was in the office, and it was amazing what a different perspective you have because you're looking down on everything, whereas I'm used to looking at everything at a certain level.
Me and my generation are in quite a lucky position because all the groundwork's been laid, you know, like I don't really have to fight for anything.
It is that pervading social norm that people with disabilities do need to be treated very fragilely and very carefully. Everybody has to be mindful of the disability, has to be politically correct.
There have never really been huge expectations put on disabled people. It's funny when I go out into town and stuff, at least once every time I go, some usually really drunk, sweaty guy will be like, you know, patting me on the back saying how fantastic it is that I'm out. I guess I just find it interesting that people have this notion that disabled people shouldn't be out. You know, I don't know what we're supposed to do on a Saturday night, but evidently it's nothing like drinking in town.
It gets complicated when you think about romantic interests. There is this bizarre thing that people with disabilities don't experience any of that, don't experience attraction, don't experience sexual feelings.
One of the important things that I always think, you know, people should remember, having an impairment is just a part of me. It's not who I am. It's who I am is a whole lot of other stuff.
I've told somebody that I find this particular person attractive, and they're like, "Do you feel like that? Do you feel that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I really do."
I've decided one of my goals in life is to have one of my friends say, "Oh, you know, Red, my friend, ... and have that sentence finished with something other than who's in a wheelchair.
Adaptive skiing is one of Cam's many interests, and he is currently having skiing lessons at the Snow Planet.
The adaptive skiing program is enabling people with disabilities to ski alongside their families and friends, essentially. In society, I am seen as having a disability, but I can be completely independent by myself on the skis, just skiing as any other skier would.
We'll just work on really leaning into the turns and getting our weight forward. Cam is a solid intermediate skier, so right now one of the problems that is common with any intermediate skier is a tendency to have weight back on the skate. So he falls in line pretty much with anyone else in his abilities.
It's not that I think about my disability often, but when I'm doing that sport it completely disappears. It's just me in the skis. It's just that feel-good feeling of being on the snow.
Like a bird released after all this time, like a summer breeze.
Being active in the community is very much a part of Amy's life, and she regularly volunteers at her local trade aid shop in Takapuna.
always had quite a high social awareness. So when a shop like Trade Aid opened up in Takapuna, I was like, yay, I have to go and see if I can volunteer there. I was so touched when in Trade Aid, when one of the people made a wheelchair measurer thing, which was just a piece of plywood with some string on it, just to test all the whether they could get the wheelchair through. Didn't go all over the top. They just did it. They were just incredibly practical because they saw the need. Basically what I do is pretty much anything that needs doing. Specifically I help Trish balance the accounts and do some of the admin in the back room, and we have a cyclical rotation of volunteers, and everybody just pretty much does everything that needs to be done around the shop because the shop is run and based on volunteers.
For Natalie, being in a wheelchair raises all sorts of transportation issues for disabled people.
Transport's always a big issue, seeing as our public transport system isn't great. I still need to use taxis and everything like that. I'd love to have my own vehicle, but unfortunately it's really expensive to have a fully modified vehicle and there's no funding out there.
I bought my van off a guy who was under ACC, and he got it paid for under ACC. And he was in a very similar situation to me, disability-wise. Not through birth, obviously he'd had an accident. And he got this van paid for by ACC, and I forked out 30 grand to buy it off him. I would buy a $2,000 bomb if I could, but the fact of the matter is I can't, and I need a car with a hoist and hand controls and all the rest of it. So, and you know, that costs what it costs.
Constantly ready to face new challenges, Red and a colleague entered the Y Media Challenge. This involved implementing design solutions as well as training documentation to bring a non-for-profit organisation into the 21st century.
And we ended up taking out that challenge. There were 6 teams, and me and my friend actually ended up winning. So we got $1,000 prize money and an internship with Saatchi & Saatchi. I've done my internship at Saatchi & Saatchi, and now I'm employed part-time as a digital researcher. So basically I scope out any cool new ideas, or take a look at existing ones and see how we can modify that for our client. So yeah, it's great.
Cam works full-time in the position of Ambassador and Public Relations Coordinator at the Yes Ability Achievement Centre in Albany, Auckland.
Well, I'm called an ambassador, which is a sort of quite a grand-sounding position to hold. I'm quite proud of it. It's an extremely exciting job, and I'm doing everything from promotion of the centre, which is a brand new centre, starting the day like anyone else, check my emails, do some phone calls, but I really love being out there in the community, just meeting new people on a daily basis and guiding them in a direction which could empower their way of life.
The empowerment of people with disabilities is Cam's passion, and with the help and advice of other Life Centre members, Cam has helped develop Carabiner, a disabled mentoring program.
Carabiner is the name that Cam Calcon's given to his brainchild, which is this disability mentoring program, which basically handpicks young disabled talent.
And Carabiner is an initiative that I've thought of through looking at my own life. I'm seeing that support is the foundation to success. This is a program that's all about networking people that may not have otherwise met. Last month, the nation said goodbye to a legend, Sir Edmund. Sir Ed was a hero for many reasons, but the triumph that stands out for me, how he not only overcame diversity, but smashed it into 1,000 pieces.
Cam is wonderful. I can't speak more highly of Cam. He does an amazing amount of work. I was on the focus group that did all the brainstorming to bring it together and to make it get a disabled perspective.
Welcome. I've connected them with individuals who are leaders in the field that these youth want to aspire towards, through what they've gained in life, through their knowledge on how they've got to the top of their industry. They go pass that on to the younger person.
For me, Carabiner was quite a big deal because it was my first real entry back into the disabled community and engaging with it and being really positive how I can help create change and help have my input into this fantastic program. And that's what was so cool. It was me, Cam, Amy, Natalie, Philip for a wee while, and a couple of other North Shore Life Centre members sitting around a table talking about the design of this program to further the lives of disabled people.
As I open this speech in the memory of a legend, I will close with a quote of another, Sir Peter Blake, who once said, if something isn't difficult, it probably isn't worth doing. We are starting to really recognise that people just of all abilities have something to offer. The key to making society work better is about knowing ourselves and giving other people the space to be themselves.
Always assume that people with disabilities have the ability to understand. Don't assume that you automatically need to be different. This is how you change things, by confronting the stereotypes.
And the more experiences people have with people of all diverse backgrounds, the more open-minded I guess they are, and the better it is for everyone really.
Being disabled is not me, but it does form quite a significant part of who I am, and I think embracing that and being proud of it, and let's do something cool with it.
Like a bird released after all this time, like a summer breeze. Like a bird released after all these years.
This program was funded by New Zealand On Air.